Good afternoon. Today I want to show you how one can learn how to study poetry via the computer. Let me begin by talking about how literature was taught in my university 40 years ago. In a class that would last 2 hours, we would probably spend the first hour on the historical and literary context of a poem. So we'll just take Dover Beach by Matthew Arnold for an example. The teacher will begin by talking about the poem, why it was important, then perhaps something about Matthew Arnold. The teacher might mention that Matthew Arnold was the son of Thomas Arnold, who was the headmaster of Tom Brown's school days rugby. The teacher might tell us something about the French Revolution, Napoleon, Darwin, the crisis of faith in choosing whether to believe in evolution or not. The teacher might discuss with us the problem of the crisis of faith in Europe in the 19th century and Matthew Arnold's concern that they were living in an age in which faith was found wanting. But now we live in a modern age and we have a computer. So what can we do with a computer? Let's just take Matthew Arnold's Dover Beach, for example. You could use the internet first to find out something about the poem and its context. This can easily be done by typing Dover Beach, Matthew Arnold, evolution, the crisis of faith, and things like that on your Google search. You can also use the YouTube channels to find out who might be the best reader or the person reciting the poem, Dover Beach. So after 15 minutes surfing your Google and YouTube, you will probably already know a lot about the poem, the writer, the historical times, and the way the poem is to be recited. This should take no more than 50 minutes because otherwise you will just waste your time surfing the internet. So after the first 15 minutes in finding out everything you can know about the poem, then perhaps you might take a little rest. And the little rest can take place in the form of listening to some artist, actress, reciting the poem, Dover Beach. And all you have to do is to type Dover Beach recitation on YouTube. So you might relax by listening to the poem a few times. Then with the help of your laptop or your tablet or your second computer, you might want to find the lyrics of the poem. And the bigger the screen, it is easier for you to listen and actually look at the words yourself. So after 3 or 4 readings by the professional, you might want to imitate the reading by reciting the poem itself with the person who recites the poem. So perhaps after 4 or 5 recitations, it is time to take a break. You might welcome it because you were already tired. What I want to stress is that for the last 50 minutes, you have been giving all your attention to the poem. And so you should be tired. Your mind, your brain is working very hard over these exercises. So after the first hour, you will come back. You have already recited the poem maybe 5 times. You know something about the poem because you scan the Google searches for about 15 minutes in the beginning of your study. You have listened to professionals reading the poem. Then the second hour can best be spent in writing an essay on the poem. I have devised some topics. 1, discuss the crisis of the age of faith in the light of Dover Beach. 2, is Matthew Arnold still relevant to us? 3, are we living in a time of uncertainty? 4, can human friendship and love be still a life-saving device for modern men? You can choose one of these 4 topics. And of course, you are welcome to invent something yourself. Then concentrate and use the remaining 50 minutes or maybe 30 minutes to write an essay. The importance of the essay is not to write a good essay, but rather to make your brain retrieve the information you acquired an hour ago. The information you acquired include, first, listening several times and reciting the poem yourself to the poem itself. Google search results on Matthew Arnold, his time, his age, the crisis of the age, and also how Dover looks like, where is France, can one see France, and certain things that you have already found on your 15 minutes Google search. Then you are allowed to use the book or use whatever you want because this is not an examination. Then use maybe 5 minutes to take as many notes for yourself as possible. Then sit down and write an outline on how to approach that essay. And then you might use the remaining 20 minutes to write the essay. The purpose of spending these 2 hours like this is first to teach you how to take in information quickly. The second thing to do is to practice speaking, that is using your mouth to recite the poem. Thirdly, to get your brain to retrieve the information you acquired. And this information does not just rely on the Google search, but this information might also be stored in your brain because you listen to the poem as if it were music. Finally, you force yourself to write an outline of your essay. And in the last 10 or 15 or 20 minutes, you pretend you were in an examination hall and you would write an essay. So to conclude, instead of sitting passively in the classroom, taking in information, you force yourself to take in information, select what is important, recite it aloud with experts and by yourself, put the information together, which means retrieval, and finally forcing yourself to write an outline, and last of all, you force yourself to write an essay in 20 minutes. you may be surprised how efficient and how successful such an enterprise would generate. Thank you.